Good morning. It's Friday, December 1st, 9:30. We're going to get started. You'll notice that there's been a shifting of chairs on the deck here. We wish Commissioner Moore a quick return to health so that I can get back in my regular seat. But may we start by rising for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start the day out with investments as usual.
Well, I'll do roll call first.
Oh, roll call.
You're okay. Commissioner Riddell.
Here.
Commissioner Hahn.
Here.
We have a quorum. Under resolutions number 1, investments.
Okay. Motion to approve investments.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hahn.
Yes.
Number 2, appropriations.
If we've had a chance to review that, I'd make a motion to accept the transfers. The appropriations.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hahn.
Yes.
3 transfers.
Okay, that's the daily business of the county. Make a motion to accept the transfers.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hahn.
Here. Yes.
Number 4, advances, repayments. There were none. Number 5, requisitions.
And we have 8 pages of requisitions today, so if everybody would get their glasses out. Page 1, Victor?
Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
could I ask Assistant County Prosecutor Dan Petticord to go over number 1851, because the newspaper does take notice when they see the words settlement and release agreement?
Yes. The log number 1851 with 911 and Caxa Holdings, Inc. is a contract that 911 had for a period of years. I believe it's safe to say that we were not happy with the services being provided by Caxa Holdings, and the administration at 911 decided to go in a different direction for these services. Unfortunately, the contract had a rather lengthy automatic renewal provision. I believe it was 90 days, I think. And we did not make the decision to terminate the contract and move in a different direction until that 90-day window had opened. So when we reached out to Caxa and said, sorry, we're going to end our relationship, they chose to stand on the idea that we had to renew for the full term. Lee Proof from my office has been involved for a good couple of months negotiating down a settlement that we can live with. And this will terminate that relationship and allow 911 to move in a more productive direction. And we have begun a policy over the last several years of not adopting contracts with auto renew provisions, because I hate them with a burning white passion for exactly this reason. Even in a computer age, it's hard to maintain all those dates. I think this is a good example of why they're not a good idea generally, and when we can avoid doing it, we do. In this case, we missed a date, and we had to pay a little bit of money to fix that. But as a policy matter, I think it's a good move to move forward. Does that help?
Thank you.
Mr. Petticord, how long has this been going on?
What?
The issue with Caxa?
I'm not minute by minute involved. Rob is. I know it's been going on for at least a year, I believe, correct? I think I want to say it was a 3-year contract. The term was a 2 or 3 year contract.
Yeah, the actual contract was
Yeah.
the actual contract was with Message One.
Yeah.
So that was the provider of the paging services that 911 had for a number of years ago. And they stopped it last year, but they didn't give them a 90-day notification, so we didn't pay the bill when it came in. And the payment now is to the collection agency of the settlement. for that bill that we've been billing us for the renewal year, which the administration was under the impression we didn't renew it. Because they told them they didn't want the service anymore, because it wasn't a 90-day notice.
And that's when Lee got involved, and we kind of, it started a year ago, but there's been problems with this message one system. These are one of those things where there's just, at some point, it becomes a decision of we need to move forward in a productive manner. And if there's a cost there, then we'll eat the cost and we get better. I've said this forever. Litigation is a pressure test, and it shows us where the issues here are in our process, and we'll talk to Rob, and we'll get better at that. You know, we're moving away from these contracts. We're trying to calendar them as best we can, both in our office and in the line of business places, but it's just an issue that we had to deal with to get better. Okay?
Took a while, so I assume we finally decided it's a good settlement. Best we're gonna get.
Yeah, I had, a lot of was getting Lee to say, we're not gonna sue them in Texas and go through this and just pay the money and get done, but yeah, I'm happy with the settlement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else on page 1? Let's go to page 2. Victor, can we have page 3? Okay, can we have page 4? Okay, can we have page 5? Page 6? Do we want to speak to item 1808? That's a large one. Is that through the engineer's office, Sean?
I can speak to that.
Okay. 1908. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so this goes along with I believe that was last board meeting, or one of the previous board meetings, you guys had passed resolutions referring to borrowing notes that the county has out there for this Northridge project that I believe is an engineer's project. But this is this project we had ended up with some leftover money. At the end of the project, we had some leftover money. So this is us returning those proceeds back to the notes. This was additional money that wasn't needed for the project. So we're returning those funds back to the borrower, back to the lender. So and we will. So you guys pass those resolutions regarding those notes, and we'll be closing on those notes here next week, I believe.
Okay, very good. Just wanted to give you a chance to say you came in under budget.
Good job, Sean. And I guess, Commissioner, while I have the floor, I just wanted to address the length of this. This is the last board meeting that you will see requisition recaps, unless there are some, last minute exceptions. So, and that paired with the fact that we didn't meet on Tuesday, that's why we're looking at 8 pages today. It's 2 boards together and the end of year. Everybody's trying to get their last those last requisitions in to take care of business for the remainder of the year. So,
Very good. And the item below it, 1909, that's also a sister issue. That's the Sandstone Parkway. That's a project that we've had almost activity on every month for the last 6 months. That's growth in Lorain County. Page 7. Okay, page 8. Okay, I make a motion to accept the requisitions, pages 1 through 8.
Second, do we need the word approve or accept, Teresa? Either word works? Okay.
Cool. Any further discussion? Commissioner Riddell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 6, travel.
We had a busy month for travel. There's 4 pages. Victor, page 1.
And it looks like the Board of Elections has some stuff coming up. Winter conference
Yes.
and a summer conference.
Yeah, they were, for some reason, the paperwork did a circular movement and didn't get to us, earlier for this, but they do have they had 2 conferences, one prior to the primary and one prior to the general election. And what you're seeing is the travel expenses for the staff to attend that so that we can have a solid, honest election. Page 3. And page 4. Okay, I make a motion to accept travel expenses, pages 1 through 4.
Second.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 7, bills.
And that's correct, we have 2 pages, Teresa?
Yes.
We have page 1 on the screen. Page 2, please. I make a motion to accept the bills.
Second.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 8, Commissioners may recess an executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
We'll put the personnel summary sheet up. There's nothing here that would necessitate us going into executive session, so we can process this.
That's-
Page 2. Here we go. Yeah, we had a little bit of a wait out there. Okay. I make a motion to accept the personnel summary sheet as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes. Mr. Vice President, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize Hope Bonos in our emergency operations in our EMA. She's been with us for quite some time over the past couple of years, and unfortunate as it is, we have employees that get lured by private industry, so we wish her the best in her future career endeavors and thank her for her service.
Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
B, public comment on agenda items.
I believe,
Is there any? I don't think on agenda items. It was just public comment, correct?
I believe both of these are, yes,
Okay.
public comment. at
Is there
the
any
end.
old business? Board business, number 9, approve and waive the reading of the County Commissioners meeting minutes of November 14th of 2023.
I move to waive the reading of the minutes.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 10, adjust the salary of Lorain Municipal Clerk of Courts Ted Kalo, representing the county's 2/5 share effective January 1st of 2024. The new biweekly rate is $1,984.28.
As you can see from the resolution, the county is responsible for 40% of the clerk of court salaries in our municipal courts. So I make a motion to accept the resolution.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Rydell?
Aye.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Number 11, approve the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency Code of Regulations revisions in NOACA Resolution 2023-039 regarding to board membership. NOACA Board of Directors adopted Resolution 2023-039 revising Article 4, Section 4.2 of the NOACA Code of Regulations, which delineates the City of Cleveland Board membership, will be revised from Mayor, Chief of Government Affairs, to Mayor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
I represent the Lorain County on the Governance Committee, and I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but that little thing to change that title took 8 months. Went through 3 committees. But the last stage is every member of NOACA has to approve a change in the charter of NOACA, and that's what we're doing here today.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Number 12, authorizing County of Lorain, Ohio to give applicable elected representative approval in connection with the reissuance of revenue bonds of Lorain County Port Authority and authorizing other documents in connections with the reissuance of such bonds, and this deals with Kendall at Oberlin.
Melissa, could I ask you to come up to the podium? This is a large number, so I think those that are following us would appreciate a little bit of background on what we're doing here.
Absolutely. So, good morning. My name is Melissa Santiago. I'm a bond attorney at Dinsmore and Scholl, and we are serving as bond counsel on this transaction. So, the resolution that we're asking the Commission to consider pertains to the Lorain County Port Authority's conversion and reissuance of the 2021 Economic Development Facilities Revenue Refunding Bonds, which were issued for the benefit of Kendall at Oberlin. These bonds were originally issued on July 1st, 2021 in a taxable interest rate. And at this time, Kendall at Oberlin desires to convert those bonds to a tax exempt rate. And so we are coming before the Commission for approval for basically that conversion. Please note that this debt is solely of Kendall at Oberlin. It is not debt of the county or the Port Authority. Absolutely no taxing power or taxpayer dollars will be pledged for repayment of the bonds. And again, the debt is just Kendall at Oberlin's. I'm
And
happy
the county is the conduit, so we have,
Yes.
we have to maintain the paperwork.
Yes, for the tax exempt interest rate. And
Would it be correct to say that this is as a result of the rising interest rate marketplace? So
Yeah, Kendall at Oberlin had the option to continue the taxable interest rate, but they've decided it's in their best interest to go with the tax exempt rate due to the current market. So,
very good. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to accept item 12.
Second?
Any further discussion? Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Sanitary engineer number 13, requests the board to sign and execute an emergency contract with Fabrizi Trucking and Paving in the amount of $9,254.98 for the water line repairs at 41765 North Ridge Road, Elyria Township. Attempts by the department to restore service were not successful, and it was determined that a blockage was located at the main, which is located in the eastbound lane of North Ridge Road, and this will be paid from the sanitary repair and maintenance account.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 14, award and enter in a contract with R.A. Boers Excavating, Inc., Monroeville, Ohio, in the amount of $315,207.25 for the Grove Avenue Waterline Replacement Project. 11 bids were open on November 9th, this being the most responsive, complying with specification. Work consists of replacing the existing 6-inch water line with 1741 linear feet of 8-inch PVC, along with new hydrants and service connections. A notice to proceed upon full execution of the contract and will be completed by May 1st of 2024, which will be paid out of Q Construction account, and authorize administrator to notify the auditor to release retainage at completion of project.
Do we have this breakdown available? Does Victor have that?
No.
Can we
I
put
mean,
that
I-
on the screen? You want to use mine?
Number 14.
Teresa.
For the benefit of those watching, we got to adjust it a little bit. There we go. This is good news. The county has had trouble in the past getting bidders for jobs, and you'll see in the next one that unfortunately we only had one bidder for the next project. But for this one, this is good news because we had any number of bidders, and the marketplace, I think, is reflected here because you'll see there's quite a spread between the low bidder and the high bidder. almost 75%. So, good bidding and good management of the bid, Sean.
Sean, we see some names here that look familiar. Have you worked with Boris Excavating before?
I have never personally worked with RA Boris Excavating, but we do our due diligence to call around when it's a contractor we've not worked with in the past. They had some good recommendations even from other contractors that we contacted, so.
That's good to hear, and like Commissioner Riddell said, it's nice to see all the names in the bidders, and we see some familiar ones.
Usually this time of year, we'll get contractors trying to fill up their slates for next year, so you'll see hopefully on the next board meeting, we'll have some more bids going out. So we try to keep purchasing busy this time, early in the year.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Oh, no, wait.
It was moved and seconded.
That wasn't.
No,
Yes, he did. He said move to approve. He even used the word approve.
That was on number 13.
okay, I'll say it again. Move to approve.
Just discussion.
Second. I swear you
Any
said
further
it.
discussion?
We have to review that tape, Teresa.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Yeah, he throws you off sometimes because he gets right into that conversation
Yeah.
going first, so.
He's keeping us on our toes today.
Right. Number 15, approve and execute a member community infrastructure grant program agreement by and between Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District and Lorain County Board of Commissioners for Forest View Heights Abatement Project in Columbia Township. May of 2023, sanitary engineers submitted an application to request funding to assist with the elimination of failed septic systems on Forest View Drive. Estimated construction cost of the project is $428,900. And August 3rd of 2023, the application received recommended for funding in the amount of $214,450, or 50% of the total project. Funding for the local share of the project will be made available from the TIF funding through the Emerald Woods and MLM developments.
Very good. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Administrator Armbruster, could you explain the TIF briefly? How the TIF process works?
I was gonna say Don probably could.
Briefly? Briefly?
Or delegate?
Mine's going to be a long one.
Simply put, when MLM and Emerald Woods were planning their project, the county worked with the developers and the school board to put together a financing mechanism to actually facilitate things like this to provide a much greater positive impact for the community. And so what we are doing is using some of the funds that would be generated, and this is a proposal, there could be other grant funds that we might be able to locate, but to basically leverage additional funds such as from Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer to do these improvements. So when we designed, with the engineer's office, when we designed the sewer, it was oversized to be able to serve not just Emerald Woods and those subdivisions going in, but also the greater community to facilitate both solving existing environmental problems or future environmental problems, but also to facilitate the economic development along State Route 82 as well that the township is working on. Sufficient enough, or would you like
Sufficient.
more?
And about 1/3 of what Mr. Armbruster would have had, so I commend you. Is it correct to say, though, Don, that this particular phase of it then is fully paid either through grant or through the TIF funds, but there's no general fund dollars in this?
I would believe that's an accurate statement.
Very good.
Is there anything further?
Anything further?
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Under Stormwater Management, 16, award a contract to D&M Earth Moving Limited of Wakeman, Ohio, in the amount of $53,619.50, which includes a contingency for the repair of the stormwater basin near the Board of Elections, Sheffield Township. Storm on August 23rd of 2023 caused a pipe failure near the inlet to the basin from the west and scored the bottom, creating berms and washed out stone at the outlet of the north end, and this will be paid from the contractual services account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
And my understanding is, Don, that this comes from your 2023 budget. So this will not mean any additional expenditures over your budget. You're going to absorb it in budget.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Those are the things we like to hear, almost as much as we came in under budget.
You notice how Sean is here when it's all good news and Bob is here when it's bad news? I have noticed a pattern.
Could be something there.
Usually it's the boss that takes the good news, and Sean would be here for the hits, but you've done well, my friend. You've done very well.
Teresa?
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Number 17, award contract to Dennis Concrete, Inc., Wellington, in the amount of $50,800, which includes a contingency for the Fireland School outlet in Henrietta Township. 3 bids were open on November 15th of 2023, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications. Lorain County, Lorain Soil and Conservation District, and Fireland School District found it necessary to improve the outlet and conveyance from a detention basin and have entered in an MOU, and this will be paid from the contract services account.
Move to approve?
Second?
Discussion.
You want to take your bow now, Don? This was the third time this project was bid, and I had to reach back into my former life and poke some people and get them to bid the county's work.
Any way we can get to bring bidders to the table, we will accept. This was the first project I thought we would be doing using ARPA funds. We had a great partnership with the now Lorain Conservation District, provided the design at no cost. The school district not only provided the land, and they are benefiting from it, but they've also committed to the long-term maintenance. Normally, when stormwater does a project, the maintenance goes back on the county, the engineer and stormwater district working together. So in this case, the school's taking over that responsibility. And it's another bit of the ARPA funds going out the door that this board previously had granted to the stormwater district to make these improvements occur. And I do appreciate everyone's help and assistance in getting it done, and we're very grateful not to have to do this out a fourth time. My staff would have shot me. So, thank you.
I think part of this was, for those that are following, is that the reason this was bid is it's new technology, and I think everybody on the first couple times around was just they didn't know how to estimate it because they had no historical references to what it would cost to do pieces of this. So I thought the bids came in fairly good.
They did come in with estimate. We did need to revise our estimate once we got a feel for what was going on in the marketplace. I will say it's been challenging when we're doing new things. Your first estimate isn't always correct with the engineers, and also this was put together more from a layman's perspective, if I may, in that we're going through farm fields and we're using more farm field technology, but through a public bid process. So it's been complicated on a couple of things.
Okay.
Thank you. That was a lot of work for $50,000.
It was, but it would be well worth it, and schools are looking forward, and I know their superintendent and board will thank you.
Okay, Teresa?
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Children's Services, 18, authorize and rescind various personnel to utilize the agency's MasterCard for the year 2023, not to exceed 2,500, in accordance with their policy in the Ohio Revised Code.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Riddell.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Engineer, 19, approve and enter in a contract with Civil and Environmental Consultants, Inc., Mayfields Heights, in the amount of $103,000 to prepare the plans and specifications for the superstructure replacement of the Griggs Road Bridge number 0157 in the Village of Rochester, 100% funded by ODOT. Authorize engineer to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion.
John, anything to add?
Nothing to add. I mean, we reached out for LOIs on the project, evaluated all the LOIs per ODOT's requirements, submit those to ODOT as well so they can approve the contract. This is one of the ones where that large infrastructure bill that got passed for more federal dollars. This is one where the county did benefit. We were able to pick up this project, so we are happy to have this one.
Thank you.
Commissioner Roydell?
Aye.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
County Administrators update.
You want the long-winded one?
It's Friday, Jeff.
So, as requested by the county commissioners over the past week, we have met with via Zoom and in person on Monday, Thursday, and again this morning for another hour and 15 minutes to explain to all their union representatives across the whole gambit of the county and beyond the healthcare changes that took place on November 17th, not the changes, but the different resolutions that were passed. And in that thought process, we actually showed all of the union representatives the actual cost for the month. But in that process, on November 17th, we discovered a change that had to be made in the increase, where for informational purposes only, the fourth column, we made a change in Plan A, but we realized that after that we had to make a change in Plan B on the fourth column and a change in Plan C, which actually reduced from $70 to $39, from 176 to 99, from 30 to from 54 to 30, and from 135 to 76. So all the prices went down, and there's a reason why I'm letting you know this. We also found a rounding error by a penny in Plan C medical from 728 from $782.28. It should be $782.29. And on the other one, which was changed from $664.94 to $664.93. So there's your penny rounding error in that. The reason that the administration would like to have the county commissioners act on this today is that we need to amend the 23-814, and the reason we're asking for it today, and rather than waiting until David comes back, Commissioner Moore comes back, is that the union representation has asked that we go out with an open enrollment. And in order to go out for the open enrollment, we want to make sure that the county administration, what was passed, is absolutely corrected by those pennies and by that reduction, because we certainly do not want to send out something that is incorrect. And Teresa, if she has got up on the board what the changes are into the fourth column under Plan B. It would be the fourth column from from Plan C on the fourth column, and then there's the penny changes on Plan C and the premium, the $782.28 and the $664.94. When that is changed, then we can go out with the open enrollment and get that process started, and that's what the union representatives wanted, as quickly as possible. Now, if it doesn't happen today, then they're just going to have to wait.
Well, I believe that Karen had presented that under new business, but I understand that I have the ability to pull it forward to this time, and we could make a resolution to that effect. So I would propose that we make a resolution to amend, as we've done many times in the past when there's a mathematical or an error in typing. We need to amend Resolution 23-814 that we did on the 17th and show this is the final and finally correct table for our employees to evaluate, the coverage that they intend to buy. So I would make that resolution.
You make that motion?
Make that motion.
Well, as the public knows, and I've stated in this room and to the newspaper, the union contracts stated that we would be at 85.15 going forward. They had a rate holiday for 2022, so the unions were well aware that there was going to be a rate increase on that 3%. I understand that we didn't have a rate increase for 3 years. I did ask the auditor for the spreadsheet just to make sure that former Commissioner Lundy here is here today, to use your phrase, to make sure the auditorium's not on fire. And it's not. Our healthcare cash balance is averaging the past 4 years of $22 million a year. So while the unions relayed to me that they were fine, they were understanding that there was going to be that 3% increase. When we had this discussion, I offered a compromise of a 4% increase. My colleagues overruled me at that point and chose to pass the more exorbitant increase, which I think was a little excessive, and, well, actually more than a little excessive, so I won't be supporting this today.
You do understand this is just housekeeping. The rates are all affected. The only ones that are affected by this are our employees, because we can't give them the rate schedule, but the resolution already was passed to raise the rates. This is merely correcting a
I do
typographic.
understand it's housekeeping, but if it's housekeeping, as Dan said, it could just be done.
I think it's a clerical, I think you're both correct. I think that the rates were passed. This is a way to correct the record. It's a clerical way to correct the record. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I didn't vote for the exorbitant rate increase, so why would I vote for this today?
Well, and to correct that, Commissioner, yes, at the beginning of this year, there was 22 million in the reserve, but we are using 4 million of that to take this rate from 17.5 to 7.9. So that is a compromise on what was recommended to maintain it, and we are lowering the reserve. It's going to be still a responsible reserve, but there's 4 million of this that's coming from the reserve to fund the increase.
Right, we had to have in 2022, a $3.7 million one-time transfer to cover hospitalization, and we had to take that from the reserve. But when you factor the one-time transfer from hospitalization reserve fund, and that's removed, the revenue would actually be up at 3.7% in 2023. So I don't agree with, the actuary does what he's told. I wasn't in those meetings with the actuary.
I would,
Administrator?
yes, the actuary is going to give us the actuarial numbers. He is not going to do what he's told. He is there as a professional. He is licensed to do that, and he doesn't do what he's told. He does what he is supposed to do, is do the actuarial results, do the historical, and project. That's his job. Now, based on
ultimately, he
what
works
we've
for the
been
board.
asked for the last 3 days by the union representation of all the unions within the county, is we cannot send out the open enrollment until this process is changed. I am not going to send out something that is not correct, and I refuse to do that. And they have asked that we correct it and send it out, because there's employees out there that actually want to go through the open enrollment process and not back it up till some other time. So I ask that we could make these changes that are actually going down, and the 1 cent, in the case one goes up 1 penny and the other one comes down a penny, that we have gone to great lengths is to bring all of the union representation into these meetings. In fact, today we even broadened that out to bring in DD, that is really not our responsibility, to come into these meetings today. And the administration has gone to great lengths, and all we want to do as an administration for the county commissioners is put what is already in place and get it to the employees for the open enrollment process. We still have another resolution that has to be passed later on, But these are the funds that has actually already passed, and to the request of the union representation and other employees, I applaud that I would ask that we move forward on this, because we are not going to have an open enrollment with a piece of paper that might be off 1 cent and is going down in every other way.
Commissioner?
Well, I wasn't one of the commissioners that passed that, so you're going to have to talk to the other one.
Well, again, the Board of Commissioners passed the plan increase and the funding mechanism. That is done. This is correcting, this is a clerical error, this is a typing error, it's a mathematical error. It doesn't change the mission, and it's not going to stop it from going in. All you're doing is you're making it difficult for the employees to get involved in open enrollment and see the insurance and figure out what to do. They're going to have to wait until, obviously, we have a third commissioner here, and I don't know what that date is, but it's at least the 12th of December, which is 12 days from today. So we're only hurting our people and the township trustees and the other people that take insurance from our plan.
Well,
That's all we're hurting.
Mr. Vice President, we like to throw out the narrative and the talking points that Commissioner Hung is, quote, making it difficult. Commissioner Hung will not be bullied.
I have a motion on the floor. There is no second, so this
There's no
dies.
second. So Jeff, could you convey our regrets to the union representatives?
I certainly will. I can't do anything without the correct numbers on the sheet, whether it's 1 cent or whether it's going down substantially. I can't do it. So we will wait to see what happens on December 12th, and we'll get back to all the union representation and to the employees and say that we can't have open enrollment at this point. Thank you.
I think the president needs to determine that the motion fails for lack of a second, correct?
I said motion failed
I think
due
the
to lack
president-
of a second.
Oh,
I think the president should, it's his,
Motion
it's his
failed for
discretion
lack
to
of a second.
Yeah, his discretion to determine the time to allow for seconds.
Okay. Okay. County Administrator. Clerk's report. Or do you have more, Jeff? No?
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Vice President, I actually had something for Mr. Romanchik. Don, the look, that was pretty good.
Thought you were safe.
Village of Rochester, and you mentioned ARPA dollars, Don. And
Yes.
I know that Mayor Kerpley and you have been working expeditiously to get that ARPA portal for Village of Rochester, and just wondering how it's going.
Well, I guess I'm going to borrow a phrase from Dan. It depends. We actually got them their UEI number, which almost took an act of Congress. We actually went to Congressman Lada's office to request some help in getting the village registered within the sam.gov, which anyone who wants to do business with the federal government needs to do. And the issue is the village does not have a permanent mailing address for a location. They use a post office box. All of their official business that goes through the U.S. Post Office is to that P.O. box. And in order to register in SAM, you must have a physical mailing address. So as Mayor Capelli and I went through different iterations, they were able to come up with sending a notarized letter that, for at least the time being, her house will be, or her shed where she conducts some business as mayor, is the location. And we've got that through. Then that got them their UEI number. So now we are waiting on SAM and the federal government or their contractor to review and confirm that Rochester Village is who they say they are, so that they can actually have a SAM account. As soon as that account is open, then the mayor is going to go ahead and begin to assign some roles. I'll be one of them to help Rochester continue through this. And this is all done because the state awarded ARPA funds to them, and one of the requirements for that ARPA funds was that they be enrolled in SAM, even though their money is coming through the state and not the federal government directly. So we've been working on this since before Labor Day, and we are finally to the point where I think we're going to have it done. And then we are working on using their money with some stormwater money to work on a storm sewer issue they have, doing an investigation, probably a jetting and some repair. But it's been long coming, and the mayor has put in a lot of additional hours, and both of us have been at times a little frustrated as we get turned around in these federal databases and what information they require when it just does not exist. So,
Thanks for the update, Don.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure Mayor Cindy appreciates it. Sean, you weren't part of this discussion, but I do know that Bob did get a hold of Mayor Kerpley on the snow plowing. So thank you to both of you, even though it wasn't you, Sean, to Bob, for helping out with that. I think they were able to help out with Greg's.
Yes, I
in
know,
the-
we are gonna be, I believe, plowing Griggs. Some of the other village streets are a little tight.
Yeah, the trucks
So
couldn't
our
fit.
equipment
We
is
heard.
very difficult to turn around, a lot of dead-end streets. So we've been trying to facilitate, reach out to contractors who may be able to help them out this winter.
Yep, and it was nice, everybody working together with the mayor and council. So thank you.
Well,
Anything else? No?
No, I have no report either. Board correspondence.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the board correspondence.
Second,
Discussion. Mr. Rido.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
yes.
Is there new business?
I don't believe so. We moved it up to the other section, so.
Correct.
Okay, we have two that have signed up for public comment. Mr. Lundy, I see you moving forward, so I guess you're volunteering to go first. We'll let Brian Baker have the main billing
Yeah,
today.
I'm just the opening act here, so, okay. Well, good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Always
morning.
always good to see you. Wanted to focus on the radio system. In Elyria, our citizens are proud to be called pioneers. And the journey of bringing a new radio system to our city reminds us a lot of the struggles that the pioneers before us have faced. We feel like we're the first pioneer wagon, I guess you could say, heading out west in this radio journey. And after the radio purchase was approved in 2022, rescinded, and the promise to our communities broken, Commissioner Moore then, up here at the board meeting, said that he was challenging our communities with the question, what is your skin in the game? Well, we in the city of Elyria answered that call. The mayor and council investing over $386,000 for our citizens to have a safe radio system. That was back in May. It's now the month of December. Our skin in the game, well, we experienced plenty of bruises along the way, and much like the pioneers, our Elyria wagon, believe me, has taken on its share of arrows in the form of roadblocks and broken promises. Now, we're still standing, and there are many more wagons coming behind us also to convert their radio systems. And believe me, those wagons are going to keep on coming. We don't want them to take on the same arrows that we in the city of Elyria have. We want them to know the bumps in the trail have been worked out, and that connectivity will be made easy for them. My fire chief, who has put his heart and soul into this radio transition, has informed me that we've made great progress in the last week, and I'm glad to hear that. That's very good news. I'm here today to ask that we just simply keep the momentum going, but we need the assurance from you that we will get the connectivity that we need.
Thank you, Mr. Lundy.
Could I be granted a few more minutes?
Not minutes, but if you have.
A minute?
If you have.
Just to summarize, I was in conclusion.
ahead.
Okay. Now, with that said, we must never lose sight of the fact that 911 is a taxpayer-supported and funded program. It's about a responsibility to our taxpayers to have the safest and most effective radio system in place to protect our first responders so that they can do their job of protecting our children and families. Can we count on you to keep the progress, keep the momentum of the past week going, and achieve what is most important to our residents? That's safety, safety that is achieved through the connectivity of our radio system, and of course the locution system. We've demonstrated our skin in the game. I think we've clearly done that.
Can we wrap it up, Matt?
Sure, your skin in the game is connecting our radio system. Are you committed to helping us complete our journey?
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Baker?
Thank you.
Brian Baker, 49822 Greystone Drive, Brownham Township. I'm just looking for a little bit of clarification from the 14th and the 17th meeting. Numerous times it was said that all employees of the county were informed of all the healthcare changes. They were sent out the PowerPoint. The morning of the 17th, I approached Mr. Armbruster. Jeff, you know my daughter works at the Board of Elections. They were never notified. Not on the 14th, not on the 17th, and not on the 17th until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So when you set up here, where were all these people to come out to talk about these changes? None of them even knew about it. So I just think that when we're talking about transparency, let's be transparent. I thank you for working with the unions. You know I'm 100% union, but there are other employees here, the townships and all them. Who else wasn't notified? One other quick question I'd ask is, and I don't know if this is, but so you're of Medicare age. So
I resemble that remark.
Listen, I'm headed towards it. I'm not there yet.
Does
but
that
it's
qualify as abusive?
But well, I'm going to make a point, and
Use it as an ultimate defense.
it's not a knock. But if you're on Medicare, I mean, so when everybody has to go to Medicare, so is the county your primary, or is the Medicare your primary? Because that's a savings. I mean, you know, as we're in the labor movement, we all do that to our members when they get Medicare age. That's how we save on our health care. So I'd ask that the county looks into that, because I know you're probably on it because you have to go on at age 65. So the part
It was
of it is
yesterday, by the way.
What's that?
It was yesterday, by the way.
No, it wasn't. I looked you up online. But I would just say, I mean, there's things in there that you do, and I think that we have to look at that. But I would say if you could look into that with not being notified. I mean, my daughter, single mom, I mean, increases and whatever, she knew nothing about it when I called her. And I could tell you, at 2 o'clock that afternoon, I got a text back to her, all of her stuff time-stamped when she received it all. So I would just say that if we're saying up here and we're telling everybody was notified and they weren't,
Well,
that's an incorrect statement.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to brag, Brian, because we did distribute that early last week through the payroll clerks.
Okay.
And we made evidently an erroneous subject that every payroll clerk would be prompt and distribute to people since they know the people in their work unit. And we
Okay.
discovered, your daughter's not alone, we discovered another half a dozen cases
Okay.
where that didn't get done. And that's why on Friday afternoon, we went to our HR department and took our hospitalization list.
Okay.
And instead of going through the channels which should have worked, we went direct. And that's why your daughter
Okay.
received
Well,
it at
thank
3
you.
o'clock
I mean,
on
and I thank
Friday.
you for that. The reason I didn't speak on Friday is I wasn't in time to sign up. I had a conversation with the Armbruster. So I'm not going to disrupt
Yeah.
things, because you told me sometimes I do when I come here, but I really don't.
No, you don't.
Thank you for your time. And
But I want to give you the chance to say we found a flaw in our system.
Thank you.
We're going to be addressing that because we have to have a way of distributing things.
I don't disagree.
And it just
Yes.
didn't work, and Jeff corrected it, and so
Thank you.
I'm sure that if you give him a thank you, he'll give you a welcome.
Hey, I have no problem. He said he would address it. He told me that day, and he did. But it was amazing. I called my daughter when I left here, and nothing. So they knew nothing about to come here even to fight for their own rights. At least the union had somebody to fight for them.
Yeah.
You know, so, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Brian, I do have a question. You did recognize, I mean, the question of Brian, that open enrollment cannot go out now till December 12th. Do you recognize that?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
when the complaints come back that the administration cannot send out, did not send out in a timely fashion open enrollment, it's because we can't do it until a resolution is passed, and that hopefully will happen on the 12th, maybe on the 15th.
Thank you. And one last comment. I'd like to recognize the lady in green in the middle of the room back there who came to watch my indoctrination as the president pro tem of the meeting today. She didn't want to watch it on TV. She wanted it live and in person. So I guess I have to buy her lunch.
Well, Mr. Vice President, since you addressed Mr. Baker, Mr. County Administrator, did you want to address Commissioner Lundy's concerns with the connectivity on the Harris radios for those who have chosen to purchase Harris radios, how that works at the 911 center, and kind of dispel some of those rumors floating out there that you are preventing the flip from being switched there? So if you could, I know you and I have had these discussions, if you could kind of go over that for the public?
Yes, MCM.
For,
Our consultant, MCM, has been working with the city of Elyria and with the county administration as well as the prosecutor's office. What we have discovered over the period of time, there has really no documentation. Things have changed, quite honestly, with things that have happened over the last 10 months with New World and with 911. It has come to our understanding that agreements, MOUs that are out there are not legit. And the reason they're not is they're not signed by the mayor or city council, which has changed our entire mode of operation in this county and has really slowed the process down. The prosecutor's office is in the process of putting together an agreement between the city of Elyria and with consulting with MCM to make sure that the Harris radios are hooked up, which will include no fire chief, no administrator, no police chief signing these agreements. It will actually have to go through council and through the mayor's signature. So it's honestly, it has slowed down. It's not this administration's preference to slow anybody down to hook up their radios to theirs or our system. 911 are here for the public of Lorain County and anyone else that calls 911. So there will be an enhancement, and we will be working, and it makes no difference whether you have a Harris radio, Motorola radio, a Kenwood radio, any other radio, Johnson radio, anything that's out there. Our intent is to work with the communities as we process this. I'm hopeful that our quiet time on the radios will come to a conclusion, and we can move forward on that, and not on the radios, on the communication system. And whether that happens on December 12th or December 15th, there's still negotiations going on between Johnson and Motorola. As you know, CCI did not put in a bid. And it's every intent to work with the fire departments, police departments of any community in Lorain County. That's a long-winded answer, but we have never actually stood in the way. We've been put up obstacles that we've had to get around, not necessarily by Elyria, but by other communities out there that have really put a screeching halt to any MOUs that have been going on at 911 very effectively from the beginning. But it's changed the dynamics of the whole thing as communities have challenged MOUs signed by police chiefs and fire chiefs.
And I'm glad you're bringing that out, because we've talked about this, and I'm glad you're kind of getting it all out there so the leadership, the mayors and the city council members and the fire chiefs can actually hear it from you.
The prosecutor over there knows how frustrated I am about this, because it really brings things down to the screeching halt as to how we're going to have to operate, that we've never operated like this in this county. And I don't remember, we didn't operate like this in North Ridgeville or any other community I was at.
Okay, I always loved it. Yes, there's no excuse to not operate in compliance with the law. And in the fact that perhaps in the past, things were not done artfully and efficiently, has put us in a bind currently. We are gonna get to a place where we can operate efficiently. And we're gonna do it in the right way, so that we make sure that we don't cut corners and we don't put it together with sealing wax and chewing gum because that makes me crazy, and it leads to this kind of a solution. So, yes, we have to comply with the law, we will comply with the law, and we will make sure that we do things correctly. Right now, that means we're moving slower. It is my opinion that in the long term, that means we will move more quickly, and we will have less of these questions come up with other entities, not Elyria, but with other entities. And I have heard Jeff's frustration, he knows my position on it, and we're just working in jolly cooperation to get it done, so.
Okay. All right, that being said, we are adjourned. I understand that's the one thing we don't need a motion for.
You don't need a motion.
Okay.
Correct.
And thank you to the audience for enduring my baptism.
Okay, but you need to sign.
I'm sure,
You want me to get him to sign?
you could have kept notes.
I will be here for a little bit.
Okay.
Do that.